If you're running go to market at a growth stage company and you're feeling like your stack isn't solving the problems that you actually have, the landscape has totally shifted. And these tools are catching up. They're not bloated, they're new, they're innovative. And really, I think we've kind of given you a modern go-to-market in a box. Welcome back to Revenue Remix Roundtable, where I bring in experts to discuss current trends or challenges and give you the insights you need to grow. I'm Summer Paletti, your host and moderator and founder of Rise of Us, where I help founders and CEOs avoid wasting money, momentum, and reputation on growth strategies that fall flat. Today, I'm trying something different. If you've been on the show, you are well aware of my no selling rule. I draw a hard line. I will edit you out. I protect the audience's time. I produce a show that I would want to listen to. This is demo day, but it is Summer Paletti style. So it is education first. I've always been a fan of using tech to solve business challenges and increase team efficiencies in growing orgs. You cannot throw bodies at a problem and still be profitable. It's a really fun time to be a GTM tool nerd. AI is everywhere. It's breaking barriers to entry. You don't need as much money as you used to start a company. So I'm seeing so much new innovation right now, and you're getting a front row seat to the kind of conversations that I love to have. I have with me today 4 founders who are building cool shit to solve problems every founder or senior leader should care about. Listen along with me as they talk about the challenge or gap they noticed, why it matters, and how they're solving it. Each guest gets 8 to 10 minutes. I'll leave time for Q&A because I love when guests learn from each other. And then you learn from there too. I will link their LinkedIn and website in the show notes so you can connect and follow their journey and learn more. Steve, I want you to go first. Hot seat time. This is interesting because we just recorded a feature interview together, but this is going to drop first. So pretend that no one in the audience knows you yet. I'm doing this Quentin Tarantino style where
Very cool. The end
you'll
comes
get your
first.
backstory later. So start with a quick intro, name, company, and where you're headquartered.
Hey, everybody. Steve Krull here. Summer, thank you so much for having me. Everybody else, it's wonderful to see you in person. I know we've exchanged some emails. I am the CEO and co-founder of Be Found Online, an agency in Chicago that focuses on driving growth for high consideration brands.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Okay, so tell us the challenge or gap that you saw, why it matters, and what you're doing to address it. And keep it sharp so that we all have time to ask you questions.
All right. The super simple way is that AI cannot find you. And if they cannot find you, your customers cannot find you in today's world. We are breaking that down. What we're doing is taking our experience in having run over 1,000 SEO audits historically for brands from mom and pop shops all the way up to Fortune 500 brands and looking at SEO traditionally, and we're putting an AI lens on it. So what we're doing is we're flipping some of the SEO stuff on its ear. We're adding some AI elements and we're adding some of the robots to it as well. So we're leveraging AI, we're leveraging AI-enabled tools, and we're still using human power because our SEO audit is second to none, and we've used machines to fill in the audit before, but it takes human eyes to go through and prioritize things on those audits. So what we're doing is we're evaluating your AI visibility, we're giving you a numerical score, and then we're going to work with you to change that score, to improve that score over time.
I love scores. I love improving scores. So yay. Before I go and eat up all the time for Q&A with my questions, does anyone else have a question?
I was just going to ask, how does, first of all, Steve, it seems really cool what you're working on. How is AI changing traditional SEO? I think this is a very new space and not a lot of people know about this. So it's really cool to see companies attacking this like yours.
So the greatest fundamental change is that if you put it in a nutshell, we no longer have 10 blue links to choose from on Google, and we were going to Google. Even now, Google still has 90% of the eyeballs in the space, right? ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, they're getting eyeballs and it's great. But we're all now using multiple tools. But what's happening is we were used to being in those search results. And now, instead of being a keyword or a search ranking or a click, you're becoming part of a conversation instead. So you're getting stored in the database that serves the LLM, and you've got to make sure that the LLM, when somebody's asking a question that refers to your brand or your product or your service, that you're part of what the LLM is thinking about or looking at when it pulls that result back and crafts that result for you. So we're getting out of 10 blue links, we're getting out of keywords and traffic and rankings, and we're getting into this conversational AI and making sure that we're included in that. The challenge is that the tools haven't fully caught up yet. And I know some of the big boys are really, really trying hard. And there's some cool stuff out there. But what we're seeing is a lot of the startups are doing really cool stuff with fringe metrics in the land of AI tracking. So we're going to see a lot of growth and a lot of consolidation and a lot of new products over the next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months. But in the meantime, we as consumers and as webmasters, if you will, were somewhat blind to what AI is doing. So we're quickly moving away from 10 blue links into conversations.
Okay. Soumya, you had a question?
Yeah. By the way, Steve, love what you're doing. It is really needed because very recently I did up my home, and instead of looking on Google or Amazon, I literally did a deep research going like, here's what my room looks like, give me links. And I did it in like 50 minutes as opposed to like 50 days. So I totally get where the market's going, and my question for you is, I know like one of the big barriers for SEO is like just attribution. How is SEO actually impacting a business? It's kind of like a black box. We've never been able to figure it out. We're like, yeah, we're ranking one on Google. Is that doing anything? We really don't know. Do you think that going AI first is improving that problem as a subsidiary as well?
No, unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot of the referral traffic that we once saw. So you used to be able to count the organic traffic you got from Google. So if I had a keyword, if I was party supplies was my number one keyword, I could figure out how much traffic that was driving. Google never sent us keyword information after a while. They stopped doing that years ago, but we could still see the amount of referral traffic from Google, and we could go to Google Search Console and take a look at the searches that we were a part of. And now what's happening is people are getting referrals and they're getting form fills from some of the LLMs, but it's rare, right? We're not seeing a ton of links in the LLMs. We're not being given reference points. Google's trying because Google has the most at risk right now with their ad model, and they need to get back in the game with ads. So Google's trying to give us more links. Some people are seeing ChatGPT conversions, others are seeing Perplexity and Claude conversions, but it's attribution is tricky in this regard because it's hard to say somebody came from Claude or ChatGPT and clicked on something I did and then ultimately converted. You can see it. It'll happen if you can follow the attribution path. But what I think is happening more is we're doing discovery in the LLM and we're using recovery search to go find the brand or the product elsewhere, and we're going directly to the website to convert.
That's awesome.
So no, unfortunately, it's not yet addressing some of the historical challenges you might have seen with tracking SEO from end to end.
I'm sure ChatGPT ads is going to change it though. They're going to start going around the Google model. You're going to get head.
Absolutely. Well, and they need to, right? I'm not going to spend money unless I can attribute it, right? If I spend $1, I want to know if I've made one, three, five, $10. So Chat GPT will have to give us advertising attribution. But what I understand about the model thus far is they're going with more of a programmatic model, which is selling by CPM instead of CPC. So I don't know if that means that they're not focused on lower funnel like Google is, or if it's just they're testing a different model for their ads to see if it works for them. We'll find out. We'll find out as they roll it out. If anybody else has any insight on that, I'm all ears.
That is super interesting, and we do not have time for that today. I'm putting a note in here. I want to make sure we have time for everybody. Yes, we should talk about what ad spend looks like in the next year or so. Panel noted. Okay, so I want to flip to Toni and have you go next. You're building something that I think is a natural fit with Steve's, and I wanted you guys to meet anyway. So you're meeting here. So Toni, same quick intro, please.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Tony, founder of LandingRabbit. We're headquartered here in London, United Kingdom. I'm originally Finnish, but living here for quite some time. That's me.
Hello. Welcome. Okay. So same flow. The challenge or gap you saw, why it matters, and what you're doing to address it. And sharp so that we have time for a couple of questions, please.
Yeah, so the problem actually, that's originally from my previous company. So I used to build a company called Flockler, which is a social media marketing platform. And we had thousands of customers, including like Harvard University, GoPro, Metallica, some nice names. What was interesting in that business was that we didn't have any salespeople. So it was like fully product led, despite the fact that we had such a cool enterprise names. We had 2 support agents helping founders, but otherwise everything was running through marketing, website, content that we generated. And what I've found over those years was that how hard it is for marketers to create content, because tech companies, we want to build our products, we want to create a better product. If we have any customer requests, we focus on those ones. And instead of focusing on how we could improve our product, then the website just stays behind. So when in sales meeting, the tech team is discussing with the customer, usually the words that the salespeople say are completely different from the website, just because of this sort of like gap between the updates. So now that AI is here, I thought that maybe there's a better way, or if not better, a different way of thinking about this. All the other tools out there, they start from the fact that you need to create like a copy of the previous page. If you want to create a new page within WordPress, Webflow, or any other tools, you copy an old page and you then start to fit in the content. You try to find like, how do I put it in the new page? So I thought that maybe AI can help me to do it a completely different way, that I'll share what content I would like to create. So if, for example, I have a call with my customer or a prospect, I can take those meeting notes, maybe summarize them, maybe think what would be a good one. And then that's what powers the actual page. And AI helps me to then dynamically create a page instead of me trying to copy and paste the content inside an old template that doesn't really fit. So yeah, that's what LandingRabbit is all about. We take any content, any page ideas you have connected to Steve's business. Steve, when you find a content gap somewhere or page idea, something where the customer should rank higher in AI search, you can use our tool, give it an idea what the page should be, and then let LandingRabbit to figure it out, whether that's a help doc or Google, the blog post or landing page or the full website. LandingRabbit can help with that. And the key difference between like wipe coding something, so for example, asking Claude Code to create a page or Lovable to create a page, is that in LandingRabbit, you've got your brand value proposition and your brand already baked in. So it then just follows that brand value proposition every time when, as a sales or marketing guy, you want to create something new. But yeah, that's the short version of what we do.
Yes. As somebody who just redid my website, where were you in January? Yes, it was a lot of duplicate, edit, all that. Oh, Lord. And then like remembering to change the header to now it's like copy of is the page name. Yes. Okay. All right. So does anybody have questions for Toni?
I'll jump in. Toni, super cool concept. As I think about the gaps we find on our own websites and on client websites, whether they're small or large gaps. So when I'm feeding something into LandingRabbit, what are the parameters? How do I feed it parameters? Say, okay, I need a page, or I need an article, or can you build me widgets? Are all these things possible within the tool? Because it sounds super cool to be able to sort of crank stuff out on the fly. Because I use Lovable, and Lovable's cool and pretty simple. But the idea of LandingRabbit to say, I found a gap on my site, help me with this value proposition, or help me with this landing page. Is that really the way it works?
Yeah, that's really how it works. And what is really fascinating is that a lot of our customers are like business owners, B2B tech or B2B services or go-to-market teams. And now they can just like all the insights that they have, what they want to create, whether that's a page for an event that they want to approach some of their clients and they want to send them a specific page before, or maybe they need like a persona specific page, or they found a gap in data that they want to do. How it works is that we have a lot of like components ready. So for example, like hero in multiple ways, testimonials in multiple ways. There's a code component, so you can add any custom code as well. And how it works is that when you give the insight, the idea for me, it's often a voice note when I explain like what I want on that page. Then it picks from those elements that are available and they're already in your brand ready there. So when it then dynamically creates the content with AI, it can use the kind of the components that it has available. So yeah, it can't create like, it's not like Lovable in that sense that when you ask it to create a CRM, it also creates a CRM for you. But it's more like for marketing and sales use cases
Yeah.
when you create a
Well,
page.
it sounds great. Like I can upload my brand assets and they're there, and now I can create some things on the fly, and I can do and fill those gaps, which is awesome. Very cool.
Exactly. And you can have like, you can save assets there. So you can kind of like, let's say you have a certain brand document that you always want to use. You can use that. And then there's this stored permanent kind of like, who are you as a brand and what's your branding in terms of look and feel as well.
I like it. And since I didn't have the opportunity to ask Steve a question, I'm going to go. Sorry, guys. What I like, and I guess it's not a question, it's like I'm imagining why this is important. I have long used marketing assets as sales enablement tools, like different tools that the salespeople can use. And then I'm just imagining like there's all this stuff in a folder or a deal room that the sales team has access to. But to Steve's point, like the AI needs that information to have those conversations and recommend you to a buyer. So if it's not on your website and it's in a deal room or in a folder, you're doing yourself a huge disservice in today's market with savvy tech forward buyers.
Exactly. I've had some customers sending me an email that I asked how to use this feature within your tool, and I asked ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT gives like half something, but then imagination on top of it. So it's like this generative model thing. So if you don't have up-to-date pages and a lot of them, you're not going to win. And then, like Steve, you were mentioning about the 10 links. I think one of the other changes there is that Google is becoming more like a chatbot for sure. It already has the AI overviews, and you can start the chat, and kind of it might become like a chat GPT in one way or another. But what it means is that their focus moves from giving you trusted sources to click to a focus that how long can I keep this customer within our service? They don't want to lose to a chat GPT and others. So it means for sure that we are just going to be like a backend service in terms of the website. Maybe not many people are visiting it, but it's going to change the logic of the website for sure. More information than
Yes, I love that. We need to move on, but it's important what you said, like, because everybody thinks they want to get cited and they're going to click the link, but that's not how it works anymore. These AI tools want to keep you using it, so they don't want you to click the link. So the more information you can feed the chatbot, the better. Love it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I want to hear from Soumya next. She's been on the show before. And as someone who's been burned by the inaccuracy of data in tools like Apollo and ZoomInfo before, I'm a big fan of what she's building. So, Soumya, same intro, please.
Hi, I'm Samya. I'm the CPO and co-founder of Involve AI. We're building a tool under it called as Jiva, which is everything sales GTM for sales reps. Yeah, I am based in Los Angeles. The company is based in San Francisco now. Since the last time we talked, we moved everybody. So yeah,
Well, how very tech of you.
I know,
Okay,
right?
so quick side note. Since you were last on the show, which was like October, I think, ZoomInfo finally corrected where I work. And you were right. It took a little over 5 years. So that is a huge problem. For context, it was listing me at a company where I used to work pre-COVID that doesn't exist anymore because they sold. So it was wildly inaccurate information. And for how much money ZoomInfo charges, that's a big problem, right? Okay, so Soumya, same flow. Challenge, why it matters, and what you're doing.
Challenge is literally what Summer said, that if your data needs to be updated and you have to do a Rocky style victory lap every time it's like up to date, there's something wrong with the way you're consuming data. So talking about it, like what we essentially built is we built agents. So the fundamental problem was data decay is a real thing. Summer got updated 5 years later. I'm not even in the system and I exist. So ZoomInfo and Apollo have a very manual way of updating data. It used to work in 2015, doesn't work in 2026 anymore when people are updating jobs every 18 months. So the manual way doesn't work anymore. And the fundamental gap that it creates is threefold. Number one, the minute you update your CRM, it's already decaying. Your leads are decaying the minute you put them in. Second, sales reps are on an average putting in 3 hours building lead lists a day. And that is time they're not reaching out to people. They're not making a sale. And this is for crap data, which, half of the people they're going to reach out to don't exist, or Summer's going to, literally bang the phone on them and say, I'm sorry, you don't even know which company I work at. And the third problem is trust erosion. At this point, I think buyers do 98% of their research way before they even talk to the company. Like they have, Steve's business, they have Tony's business, they have all of these businesses to do their research. And now if a sales rep reaches out to them and says, hey, what's up? I heard you were at the company that closed 5 years ago. You don't want to buy from them. So you're basically closing the doors to a prospect, pretty much forever, or at least that person, for those 18 months, that person is in that job. So it becomes like a garbage in, garbage out cycle. So that's fundamentally what we're trying to fix.
It's a huge problem that needs to be fixed. So before I open it up for questions, just and I know because I heard it when you were on the show, but like a quick, what does it do differently?
Yeah. So we've created a concept of deep agents where we're not building a database. We're going out real time to find the best data for you. And not only just that, we're also automating these manual processes for sales reps. So there's one agent, for example, which is just an ICP agent. So if they go to like Steve's business and say, hey, Steve, I see that you predominantly sell to business type A. I'm going to go out and find 100 more prospects, and use that to be able to create an automated outreach, make sure that data is like the most fresh, check that this is actually going into their inbox and this is their real email so that your domain reputation stays what it is. I'm going to draft a personalized outreach. And the first time you talk to a customer is when the meeting is on your calendar. So we're trying to create as much of a streamlined process so that the sales reps do what they do best, which is actually talking to, people.
I love it. Depending on whose research you're looking at, sales reps spend between 60 something to 70 something % of their time on admin tasks. Okay.
60 if they're lazy, 70 if they're not.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for questions.
I think one question I had is, I think this approach sounds very, very interesting. I'm just curious for the audience. What's an agent capable of in terms of like outreach and this data quality that like typical software would not be able to do with, say, like ZoomInfo? Yeah.
So the difference between ZoomInfo and an agent is basically being static versus being dynamic. Basically, every time, like for example, if an agent is trying to find Tony's email, I'm going to use Tony as an example, and they're not able to. The agent won't just put the best guess because that is like your, like the hunter.io kind of thing. Company first name dot last name at companyname.com. This is 90% probability. Basically, the agent's going to go, okay, I'm going to remove Tony from the ICP list because trust is more important. I'm going to go out and find another one similar to Tony and put that in the list whose emails we actually do have. Basically, you want to replicate how a human would think. A software basically has rules, and after a point, it runs out of options, which is, okay, the last thing is first name dot last name, and that's what you're stuck with. So then you're putting it into some kind of debouncer. You've paid $100,000, and then you realize that actually $30,000 have gone down the drain because 30% of the leads actually are stale. So you're doing all of that work on top of ZoomInfo. With an agent, the stake in the ground is quality over quantity. You reach out to 100 people, but highly personalized. So your reply rate goes up from 3% to maybe 12% or 15%. And you end up getting the same number of leads, but they're much more warm.
I love that. It's like ABM at scale.
ABM at scale. Yeah. That's what I should have said. I read this long spiel.
I'm sorry. I'm the heart of a marketer. I'm sorry. Okay. So, Trent, thank you for that question. That was really good. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Quick pause. The questions I ask when I'm on this show, the topics we talk about, these are the same things I see when I run diagnostics and retainers for growth stage companies. Why is revenue stuck? What's breaking? What should leadership own to fix it? What should you do most importantly now? What should you do, but it's less urgent and you can do it later? Most leaders think they need more leads, more pipeline, maybe even another salesperson. But the real issue is usually revenue architecture. Sales, marketing, customer success, and partnerships, they're all drifting apart or they're not systemized. This is what my diagnostic uncovers, and it's custom to your business. I don't bring the same deck to every company. Growth is way too nuanced for that. If you've been listening to the show and thinking, I'm not sure what's costing us revenue, I'm not sure exactly what to do, that is what my diagnostic is for. DM me on LinkedIn if that might be useful to you. All right. Back to the conversation.
Yeah, one of the things I'm wondering, one of the things I'm wondering is, so when I'm discussing with my clients or prospects, I can see this divide between someone has just started with AI, maybe knows something like prompting, and then there are some people that are like, I'm building my agentic flows in OpenClaw and whatnot. I'm just curious to hear, like, how does the market look for you, and how do you try to kind of bring everyone in the team? Like sometimes in my prospects team might be like developer slash someone is a marketer, and there's a huge gap. But yeah, how do you see that in your sales?
Sales reps, I feel like, are a very different species. Like, Summer, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like they're really quick adopters. Anything that can get them like new leads, they're down, but they're equally happy to drop something like a hot potato and move on to something else if it doesn't work for them in like the same week. Like, they're like, if my pipeline didn't grow 100x like the next day and a half, this is not good enough. So I feel like you have to continuously showcase ROI. But again, sales reps are not technical, I want to say 95% of the time. So yeah, no, they're not going to be running OpenClaw, but they're going to be giving me like, they're going to give us like prompts. Here's what we use in ChatGPT. And I feel that that's extremely insightful for us because we know where their head's at. We can actually synthesize a bunch of prompts from them to say, okay, here's what the general direction of AI prompting looks like in this new landscape. So yeah, I think the adoption for most sales reps whose entire goal is quota, right, is basically ChatGPT or whichever version, Gemini and something, and they do really, really good prompt. But thank God, no OpenClaw yet.
Wait for it. It's
No,
coming. It's coming.
no.
You said it. Not the most technical people, even in SaaS sales, but like a founder, they care about what's going to make money. And if it makes money, they will gnaw on it like a starving dog on a bone. And if it does not make money, they will move on. Yeah, you nailed it. Okay, so I want to save time for questions at the end. Let's hear from Trent next. So I've been saying, and I'll say the mean thing because it's my show. So I've been saying for like at least 18 months now that platforms like Gong are doomed in today's market. Like, why would I buy an expensive tool when I can take my AI notes in a trained project or GPT and get coaching notes and intel with just my $20 a month Claude subscription? I realize I have sales coaching background, so I have an advantage that others don't, but still, I feel like it's hard to justify the value. So that's why I'm interested in what you and Danny are building. So same flow, give a quick intro, please.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great question here, Summer. I'll get to in a sec. My name is Trent Ballard. I'm the CTO at Sales EQ, and we are headquartered in Miami. So to answer your question here, I think your suspicions with Gong are very, very real, and a lot of people are feeling this in the sales world. I think you can see this in, like, them being valued at, $7+ billion in 2021. And now they're trading on the secondary markets at around like $4 billion when I saw the other day. But essentially what we're trying to do here in this space is traditional sales tools analyze reps and buyers solely on the transcripts. And when you actually look at how like a human or sales coach or leadership watches their reps calls, it's very much based on, video, audio, understanding the connection between the people, understanding the context of what's going on. And so an example we use a lot is like, if someone asks, you know, if someone asks like at the very end of the call, they're like, okay, this all sounds great. Send me an email and I'll get back to you. Typical sales intelligence tools may read this as like a positive sign. Oh, like good, like they want a follow-up. In today's world with AI, that's something that we really try to like with Sales EQ, we try to analyze. And we do that by not just analyzing the transcript, but also by analyzing the audio and the video, where it's what what most people would consider is actually the most important information in a sales call.
Yes. As a trained former sales coach, I can tell you that the statistics will say that your communication, 7% of it is the actual words. So yes. And what you described is polite ghosting. So yes, I have totally seen it. Like somebody gave me I forget what it was from their AI notes, and it's a founder I'm coaching on how to sell better. And like his AI gave him 98% on the sales call, like based on what I don't know. But I reviewed it and I was like, holy shit, there's a ton of red flags in here. Like, I don't know what it graded you on, but this call was awful. So yes, I love what you guys are building. Okay, so does anybody else have questions before I run amok?
I'm happy to throw in a question for you, Trent. I'm thinking about this. I'm reading the book Super Communicators right now by Charles Duhigg, and I think about that from just a networking and relationship component. And I think I've heard Summer say it like all sales are based on relationships ultimately, right? And you talk about those interpersonal skills. You talk about the voice, the visuals, and bringing that stuff together. Can I take your tool? Can I program it with our sales style? So let me say, for instance, maybe I'm a getting naked style like Patrick Lencioni, and I'm very consultative in my sale, but you still have, and I'll just call them because I don't have a better word for it, you still have shuck and jive sales out there too. Can I program with my sales style into your tool so that as I'm sales leadership, I can now coach my team in that style that we sell in?
Yes, that's a great question, Steve. One thing that we're really pushing with Sales EQ is, and I think we saw this from everybody's products here, it's that with AI, it's really bringing like another level of customization you can bring in your software. And this is something that like we're really attacking here. The ability to take your company's knowledge base and allow your sales analytics to be based off that knowledge base, off your products, off your previous calls. You'll be able to like detect how different reps sell. Maybe you'll find patterns in how, certain like top reps sell for your company versus mid-tier reps. Yeah, that's a great question, Steve.
No, I love that. Most sales leaders at scaling orgs don't really have time to coach. So I see this being really valuable. Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So when you're selling this, is your success metric like close rates that you'll see improvement in close rates per sales rep?
That's right. Yeah. So with all our clients, we track close rates. One thing that I think is interesting is a lot of people are at first we were really indexing on coaching, but what we really found by talking to a lot of reps and even leadership as well is people value like analyzing buyer sentiment equally as coaching. So when we're able to detect, across many calls, when the buyer's saying these specific things, that means specific things about this deal, or you should try to upsell these products, or you should try to angle and position things differently this way. That's another area that we've really started to focus on a lot as well.
Wicked.
Okay, so I want to open it up to questions for everybody because we do have a little bit of time. But what I want to do is I want to connect some dots. So the work that I do is all about taking like buyer psychology, figuring out what they're thinking, creating some sort of asset because they're all self-educating. So I'm like, oh my God, like Trent's tool is going to figure out the buyer psychology, and then Toni's tool can spin up a page so that Steve's tool can find the right buyer at the right time.
And Soumya's tool can actually send the right buyers. Soumya's tool can send the right
Yes.
buyers to that landing page.
What I wanted when I chose everybody is like a full cycle circle, but seeing the conversation play out and having it actually be that is so fun. Okay, so we do have a little bit of time for Q&A, probably maybe 5 minutes or so. So if you had a question and I was rude and cut you off, feel free, like just open, get at it.
Yeah,
I
Trent,
have a
I want to ask
question.
you about the tech side of. Can you explain a bit about the tech? I'm a geek, so I want to know a bit more about it. How do you analyze the video and the audio?
Yeah. So basically how it works on the back end is we have a pipeline where we can automatically take in different custom attributes that you want to pull from call. And basically each attribute can act on the transcript directly, or the audio, or the video, or a combination of two, or all three. And like some examples of attributes that we'll pull from a call are, we had one client who has like a 5-star lead grade system. And, it is, in like a complex like doc, and it explains what a 1-star lead is and then what a 5-star lead is. A 5-star lead is obviously like perfect ICP, exactly who we want. And so in that scenario, we were able to basically code up a attribute, and we can do this relatively fast with the pipeline. And then you can sort of select what that might be in a transcript only metric, but there's also scenarios in which you want audio or video as well. And basically we're able to run the pipeline and just extract whatever data you want from that call. Yeah, great question, Tim.
Very cool. Okay, we have time for a couple more.
Yeah, quick question for you, Toni. I was thinking about it, like your tool, like you're pushing it to sales and marketing, but I'm sure like product marketing and customer success might be like really good places to land too, because that is my forever struggle, like since the beginning of time, which is keeping a standardized document, telling people that just because it's on the roadmap doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow or today, actually, or that we already have it, like, more importantly. So I'm sure like the same tech can be used across like product marketing, and then internal enablement too.
Yeah, totally. So I'm actually using it myself mostly for product documentation at the moment. So when I'm building, let's say, a new feature, I'll use
Yeah.
Claude Code. I'll just send like, okay, this is the feature, what I've just built, and then LandingRabbit will format it in the very sort of, it's like almost 100% ready text for a simple help documentation. In the same way, like I would have wanted to have this tool when I was usually doing like 1,000 live chats a year, nothing a lot for customer support teams, but like a lot of chats anyway in my previous company. And always there was someone asking like, hey, could you help me with this? Do you have examples of this? Could you, like, so
Yeah.
many questions? And because that company no salespeople, so it relied on like having all that, all those documents. And yeah, that's
You
why I'm
could
building
just
this.
take the budget of the product therapy sessions, and just like you can literally do that. Like we spend, so much on therapy. Going like, no, no, no. Like we literally have a roadmap that says instead of now Q1, Q2, we say now, then later, so that
Yeah.
nobody has any timeline to give.
Yeah.
That's the
I used to always have to add 1 or 2 quarters because the salespeople would see the roadmap and they'd start demoing. And I'm like, no, no, no. It says first quarter. You're not seeing it
no.
until fourth.
Now then later is so good because I don't have to commit to anything except the now.
I also love that you brought up customer success, which makes me think like, okay, Trent, so could the customer success team also use your tool? Because I'm wondering if it could detect early customer health signals so that we can be a lot more proactive.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. We've actually seen a lot of success with like customer success using our tool, even like product using our tool as well. Yeah. The way we've built it is very generic, actually. While we're focusing on a lot of sales verticals, like we integrate with CRMs and that sort of stuff. The actual pipeline itself is able to like move between these different verticals. Yeah.
Okay, I'm keeping a watchful eye on time. We have time for one or two more questions.
Can I ask everybody on the panel, what is your target market? Who's your ICP? Who do you want to bring your phone? Who do you want to get an email from that says, I need your product?
We'll go first. Soumya, you're on my tile first.
I think mid-market sales reps can truly benefit from this the fastest. Adoption is really quick. They all have quotas that they have to meet. And we feel like they're like the early adopters to most things, sales and go to market. Startups don't have as much budget and the bigger companies just much more slowly. We do have a PLG motion that we've started right now that we've just opened up to all sales reps to give it a go and see how it goes. We're just getting a lot of feedback off of it. Like, sales reps really love saying when something sucks really quickly. And I love that about them. They're really
Yes.
good at it. Like they're like,
Yes.
they're going to be really nice about it because they're trained, but they'll say, hey, very gently, sugarcoated, this sucks. So, you learn really quickly too. So anyone who can sign up for PLG and then for like truly like business, like I think mid-market sales reps would be the ICP.
Nice. Mid-market does not get enough love, so thank you. Okay, Trent, who's your ICP? Good question, Steve, by the way.
ICP is actually pretty broad. I would say it's more or less like if you are doing meetings like or video calls and you are allowed to record them, then you can use our software. That said, it typically does work best for like businesses that are forward leading and like to lean into new tools.
Yeah, probably similar to Soumya's, the people who aren't fully embedded into, they've highly customized a really expensive tool and spent a ton of money on it. Okay, Toni.
Yeah, for me, recently it's been go-to-market experts instead of actually like marketing people. So more towards like people who want to get sales done and send something very specific to their client. One use case can be that they organize an event or they attend an event and they want to kind of get in touch with potential prospects before. So that's been, but what is actually more important for me than the ICP in terms of like what they do is a signal that they are keen to create content or they're already producing some content. So the best possible person would probably be like someone who's already doing YouTube channel, but doesn't really have those insights on their website yet and are somehow go-to-market related. That would be the best possible lead for me.
Nice. I like that. Okay, Steve, answer your own question, please.
So our target audience is, well, for AIQ specifically, it can really be anybody with sort of a mid-sized and larger website at this point, simply because the tool is an assessment and a growth visibility tool. Our general premise for our go-to-market is high consideration brands, which are complex or lengthy or often higher purchase considerations, right? Higher price point products. So we do really, really well in multiple touch point purchases and keeping our customers, our clients, top of mind in their customers' eyes.
Yes, love it. I work with scaling orgs who are navigating 2 million to 20 and who are starting to realize that it's not as easy as it used to be. And a lot of that is because buyer behavior has changed. A lot of that is because ChatGPT just blew up everything that we used to know. So I was particularly interested in learning about all of what you're building and how it all connects to like what go to market and what growth looks like in the future. Because I love working with a future focused organization like Trent mentioned. If you are married to what used to work pre-COVID, like you're probably not my people. I love
Well, you're out
this.
of
This was
business.
right? I shouldn't laugh. How rude. How wicked of me. But yes, it's true. Like, I'm sorry. That's dead. So, anybody who's listening, if you're running go to market at a growth stage company and you're feeling like your stack isn't solving the problems that you actually have, this is why the landscape has totally shifted. And these tools are catching up. They're not bloated. They're new. They're innovative. I hope you check them out. I will link them all, follow them, explore them. And really, I think we've kind of given you a modern go-to-market in a box, frankly. So Steve, Toni, Soumya, and Trent, I appreciate you joining me. If you're listening from the gym or the car, I appreciate you too, and I will see you next week. Thank you, folks.